Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Recovery Classroom. My name is Drew. I'm an alcoholic, and today I'm a recovering alcoholic, and I could not be any more grateful. I want to talk to you today about a topic that I think is worthwhile. It's a difficult topic, a sensitive topic, but one in which I think is deserving of a conversation. That's one thing we pride ourselves on in the Recovery Classroom. Talking about the topics that other people may not want to talk about. They may want to have nothing to do with at all. And that's okay. They don't have to, but we're going to have this conversation. Today I want to talk about recovery and relapse and the significance of that. I can't tell you the number of times that I meet folks who come into a program, they start working a program, and they're doing really good, and they say, okay, I'm ready to get back to that normal way of life. Well, my first thought there is that normal life is what brought you into the rooms of recovery in the first place, right? That normal life you're so desperately trying to get back to, well, it's not so normal, right? Because it makes us abnormal. That normal life is what got me drinking and drugging in the first place. But I see people come in and then they'll relapse. They'll relapse and they'll go back out. And then they're ridden with that guilt, that shame and remorse that the big book talks about. And they're dealing with this guilt, this sense of guilt and humiliation, because maybe they promised their kids that they're going to stop drinking or drugging. Maybe they promised their significant others that they're going to stop drinking and drugging. I'm saying all this because that's exactly what I did. I can't tell you the number of times my son would catch me drinking. Literally, I'd have the bottle up to my mouth, and he'd walk in the room, and I'm going, and I'd say, okay, I'm going to stop. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm going to stop. I won't do it again. I'm going to stop on Monday. And I would stop on Monday, and sure enough, I'd do good until Monday afternoon, right? And I'd go right back to it. What happens is, when we relapse, we feel that guilt, shame, and remorse, and we're beating ourselves up over it because we feel like we've let down our friends, our family, our loved ones, the people who matter most to us. We feel like we've let them down. But the one thing we don't talk about is the person that we let down the most, and that's ourselves. That guilt, shame, and remorse that we're feeling, well, hell, if anything, we feel humiliated and guilty that we lied to ourselves, because at the time that we're promising people, hey, we're going to stop, we've got this, we can control it now, we mean it. We mean every word of it. But then we who relapse, we're the ones who are faced with the stark realization that we just fucked up again. This is just another affirmation that we're fucked up. This is just reinforcing that idea that's already in the back of our brains that we're fucked up. That's what happens when we relapse. And so no wonder people who relapse, they tend to disconnect themselves from the people who care about them the most, the people who can understand them the most, other alcoholics and other drug addicts. And I can't tell you the number of times that people come in, they'll do good, they'll relapse, and they'll disappear. And they'll disappear because they're ashamed. And I get it, because I was the same way. But they're ashamed to have to come back in and pick up a 24-hour chip again and start all over. They're ashamed to have to face people who they might look up to in these rooms. I get it, but let me reassure you, if you've relapsed and you're not wanting to go back into a room because you're afraid you're going to have to look somebody in the eye, who in the blue fuck am I to judge you? We don't care if you relapse. We're just thankful to God that you're still breathing. We're just thankful to God that you're not dead. We're just thankful that you're giving it another shot. We're not here to judge you. We are the last people on the planet to ever judge you. I have seen this, where people who have been involved in programs and they've had significant periods of time under their belt in recovery and sobriety, and they get involved in the program, they take on leadership positions, if you want to call it that, and then all of a sudden, for whatever reason, they'll relapse, they'll have a slip, and next thing you know, the leadership board kicks them off. I know, because I've seen this firsthand. They kick them off the board. What are you telling the person who relapsed? Well, you're just reinforcing in that person's mind that guilt, shame, and remorse that's in the back of their head. Now, I get it from a structured recovery program perspective. I kind of get it. I do. But at the end of the day, what we're doing is we're punishing the person who's relapsed when they're already punishing themselves. And I promise you this, there is no amount of punishment that a recovery program or a spouse or a child can put on you that you are not already putting on yourselves. At the end of the day, again, coming back into a room, you want to get reconnected so you can stop the madness, so you can stop that maddening cycle that keeps cycling over and over again. At the end of the day, all that matters is that you're back in the room. You're reconnecting with people who understand, people who have been where you're at. And I, for one, I can attest to everything I'm saying. There were so many times I was doing good. I finally mastered it, finally figured it out, and then I would relapse. My wife or my kids would catch me drinking, and I'd say, okay, I'm going to do it, and I would do good, and then I'd relapse, and then I felt humiliated. Not just for, feeling bad for what I did to my wife and my family, but hell, it just made me feel like an even bigger piece of shit than what I already thought I was. So I didn't need some recovery program telling me, you're not on this board anymore. I didn't need my wife reminding me, hey, you relapsed, you fucked up. I sure as hell didn't have to have my kids say anything to me, because I could look right at them and see that they were disappointed. At the end of the day, the biggest disappointment, the biggest shame that I felt was the humiliation that I had fucked up. And that, it was like a reaffirmation that I was screwed up. I didn't need anybody else telling me that. And I can promise you this, when you come back into a room, we're not here to judge you. We're not here to reaffirm that you're a piece of shit. If anything, it's the exact opposite of that. We are here to remind you that you are loved, and we're going to keep on loving you until you learn how to love yourself. So I hope that encourages you. Again, if you have recently relapsed, and you feel humiliated, you feel this guilt, shame, and remorse, I promise you there's a room full of people waiting to open up their arms again. And I love saying this. I say this all the time. Every time I'd come back in a room, the same people were there with open arms, and every time I came back in, their arms got a little bit wider. Same is waiting for you. So with that being said, I'll let you guys go. I hope you guys have an absolutely kick-ass day. Today is Friday, end of the week, and we got a lot of baseball scheduled here in South Carolina, so I'm excited. I'm ready to go. So if you have a topic you'd like to hear discussed on the Recovery Classroom Morning Monologue, feel free to email me directly, Drew, D-R-E-W, at recoveryclassroom.org. I'll take a look at it and see what we can do. If you're local to the Huntington, West Virginia area tonight, Drenda and Eric will be up at the Crosstalk Friday meeting, 5747 East Pea Ridge Road in Huntington. Encourage you to go up there and hang out with a group of like-minded drunks and drug addicts, all who share a common problem and a common solution, and all of which will teach you how to love yourself again. That being said, we'll let you guys go. Remember, guys, you can't get drunk if you don't take that first drink.